It already. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing today? It's a very special day. We got Bridget Richmond on, Purple Squirrel 2 LLCs, and Tiny Cardi Coaching. And we got Ollie here today. We'll see if DoctorNelson shows up.
He's on a plane. DoctorNelson's on a plane.
All right. He's coming up to New York for the meetup tomorrow night. And I think Sunday a game and I think a meetup also. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. And all of that stuff is on kiltzmeetups.com, and in the Kiltz Mighty Tribe, you can find all the events. Dr. Kiltz, I have two quick announcements. Go before we get Bridget going here. Yeah, I just want to remind everyone that we have coaches available who are ready to take your calls, talk to you, answer any questions, and work out what your exact next step is if you feel you need some help. So that's announcement number one. And
I need help every day, whether it's for, I guess, fertility, financing, or I'm feeling funky, right?
Exactly. If you want help with any of those things, talk to one of our coaches. The Albany event is coming up in like about 6 weeks. So I just want to make that clear. We still have tickets available and we want everyone to come. And Dr. Kiltz is going to talk about fertility and gut health.
I'm going to talk about everything I usually talk about. Remember, because they're all connected. Was one cause to all disease. And there's only one disease. It's called inflammation, right? I've got an inflammation, and that's all it is. So really grateful to everyone being here this morning. Great. We got about 60 people here. Thank you. We appreciate the likes, subscribes, love, care, share, all those things. And send your message to Ollie at drkiltz.com if you want to be a guest. And today we got Bridget Richmond. Bridget, good morning.
Good morning.
Dr. Nelson made a little video for Bridget, and so I would like to
do it. Start with that?
I've never seen it.
How long
here
is
we
it?
Go. 1 minute. It's 1 minute.
Okay.
Today, we're diving into Bridget Richmond's incredible health transformation. It's quite a story. After a lifetime of health issues, she hit her breaking point. She was just done. For decades, the advice was always the same. Just move more and eat less. So frustrating. Then, in March 2024, she got a really tough diagnosis, lichen sclerosis. And get this, the steroid treatment they prescribed actually made things worse, sparking intense sugar cravings. Her nutritionist called her the most complex case in 30 years and suggested something pretty radical. So, the day after her 45th birthday, Bridget went all in on a strict carnivore diet. And you know what? Within just a few months, the changes were completely undeniable.
She started this whole journey in a size 18, feeling uncomfortable all the time.
Pretty soon, her clothes were getting baggy. She dropped from a size 18 down to a 14. And then, amazingly, she found herself fitting comfortably into a size 6. I mean, wow. But about a year in, she hit a wall. Progress stopped, and she even gained a few pounds back. So she decided to figure it out. She started studying and got some real data from blood work. The results were a total shock. It turns out she was actually malnourished. Her body was in starvation mode. The fix wasn't to eat less, it was to eat more. More fat, more protein, and key supplements. Once she made those adjustments, she was right back on track and feeling great again. Her success sparked a whole new mission, helping other women going through the same exact thing. Bridget's story really shows how our biggest struggles can become our greatest strengths.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Bridget, welcome. Share your story with us, would you please?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I mean, as Dr. Nelson did a great job explaining, um, I was born with a pituitary problem. I actually spoke to you at Meat Stock last year, Dr. Kiltz. We sat there in the front row. I think I have a picture. I should have shared it with Alia, where my husband took a picture of us talking, and I was like so engrossed into listening to everything that you had to say. So I was born with a pituitary problem. Uh, Short stature. I'm 4'9". I was on human growth hormone in a clinical trial when I was young until I was about 13, when as soon as I would inject with the HGH, I would immediately get a migraine, and my head felt like it was going to explode. And my parents got to the point where they were chasing me around the house with a needle trying to hold me down to inject me. And during that time, enough is enough. She's in pain. Now granted, I was able to grow and gain a few inches. I think my expected height would have been around 4'6" without HGH injections, and I got up to about 4'9". Was always skinny as a beanpole, my
Uh-huh.
whole life until I
Uh-huh.
stopped those injections. And then as soon as I stopped, the weight just just started coming on. So, from about age 13, I kind of ebbed and flowed. I had never gotten a menstrual period my whole entire life. So I obviously don't know what that's like, right? So, the weight gain continued. I'd work out, I'd maybe be able to lose a few pounds, and then it would come back and creep back. It was that vicious cycle, right? Um, so my whole life I've struggled with weight loss, and I've never been able to pinpoint it. It's always been, eat less, work out more, and got some, functional blood work done with a provider. Found out that after I had actually started carnivore, that I had, been imbalanced. But prior to that, I worked with a nutritionist, and, like, she said I was the most complex person that she's ever worked with in her 30-year career, because I mean, I ate clean. I did work out. I worked out with a personal trainer 4 times a week, strength training, resistance training, very high protein, very low carb diet. Well, what I thought was low carb at that time, right? Worked with her for a while, and, I was able to lose a couple of pounds, and then we kind of transitioned into keto, and, lost a couple of pounds that way. And during that time, I had been diagnosed with lichen sclerosis. So started clobetasol, steroid ointment. And if anyone here doesn't know what lichen sclerosis feels like, I'm not trying to be TMI, but kind of feels like you have a UTI and a yeast infection all day, every day. So it's not a pleasant feeling. I mean, there were days that I couldn't get out of bed. I had started a new job during this transition, and thankfully my boss was amazing, because I worked for the same company for 20 years and never used sick time. Started a new job, got diagnosed, and I was like, once or twice a month, I was out for a good consistent 6 months due to the pain. But started the clobetasol. It actually gave me a cataract, which is a rare side effect of the steroid ointment. So I ended up having cataract surgery. Stopped the clobetasol. My dietitian at that time had said, "Hey, I've got a radical question for you." And I'm like, "What's that?" And she's like, well, we've gone through the whole gamut of diet. I had done paleo, I had done high protein, I had done keto. And she said, "What do you think about carnivore?" And ironically, I had been kind of researching carnivore because I felt like it was going to be the next step. And I went all in, and probably within 2 to 3 weeks, was able to stop using the steroid ointment. My symptoms started kind of alleviating. and it kind of went into remission, and it was amazing. And and if I do happen to get like sugar or gluten, secondarily, not, I went out to a restaurant one time and had bacon thinking it was okay, and it was brined in sugar, and I could feel it, like, just like that. Once that sugar hits my body, it's like that flare starts again.
Wow.
It's crazy. But yeah, so I was able to actually lose weight on carnivore. I was able to lose like 20 pounds, which for my short stature and my pituitary issues, I think was amazing. I mean, I still have some ways to go. And then I kind of hit a wall, and I started gaining weight. And it was about a year and a half in the carnivore, and started gaining. So that's when I kind of deep dived, got with my functional provider, found out that my electrolytes were imbalanced, found out that my adrenals were tanked, that my body was basically in starvation mode because apparently I wasn't eating enough. So, I saw the advertisement for your course, and I said, what a better way to, really get the science behind the ketogenic diet than to actually take a course. And yeah, it was life-changing. And honestly, I feel good. My inflammation is down. I mean, my CRP, when I did my initial blood work, was 12.9. I mean, astronomical, huge, shouldn't be more than a 3, and I'm getting there. So I'm down to like a 6 right now. I continue to have blood work done every, 3 to 6 months with my provider, and I feel really good.
Awesome. So where do you equate the carnivore diet and ketogenic diet?
Into my life, as far as
yeah. Well, you've been through the course and you've been experimenting with this for how young are you? You're in your 20s?
No, I'm 46.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. All right. I mean, ultimately, where would you place this idea that a ketogenic state is probably one of the most important things for us? Do you think? Like that state where our sugars are low, and our ketones are high, and we feel the best.
Yeah, I do. I feel great. Just, cutting the sugar, cutting the gluten, there's so much information out there, right? I mean, that we need to have sugar, we need to be low fat, in learning everything, obviously through the carnivore community, taking the course, obviously, they say now that, Alzheimer's is type 3 diabetes, and that we need high fat because our brain is made of fat, and we need the cholesterol. And, I think probably the hardest thing to do in the beginning of carnivore is that social stigma. So you're going to the parties, and you're eating like the pepperoni, or the cheese or the salami. Yep, there's your steak right there. Always going out to a restaurant and essentially saying, can I have a steak cooked in butter? I bring my own salt. I put my salt on top of my steak, and not having the sides and not having any of the other garbage that comes with a standard American diet.
And it's I always go back to this, that fat is actually your friend and not your foe. Mm-hmm. And both on your body and on your plate, that we still claim that, that somehow being overweight is bad. Would you say?
Yeah.
And if there's a famine, who survives the famine the best? The fat people or the skinny people?
Fat people.
Fat people. And yet we malign obesity and fat don't we?
We do.
And maybe that's our biggest problem, right? Because I always say when you look at yourself and you think less of yourself, how does that make us feel?
Well, you have bad self-esteem.
And then what do you want to do to make yourself feel better?
Starve. Honestly, you don't want to eat.
No, but
Oh.
is it easy not to eat when you're feeling down and depressed?
Well, no, right. So you eat more because you're depressed, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering if that's the natural cycle of life, because if there's no food around and you're down and depressed, you either lay around, do nothing, or you get up and go find food, right?
Yeah.
But if there's lots of food around and you're down and depressed, what are you going to do?
Eat it.
Eat it.
Mm-hmm.
And lichen sclerosis, even, did you have a pituitary tumor or just pituitary insufficiency?
So I just had insufficiency, like my cella is partially empty. I just did an MRI with my endocrinologist probably about a year ago to check for a tumor, and there was no evidence of a tumor.
So that probably happened in utero or as an adolescent?
I would say.
I mean, a young child, a baby, an infant or something.
I would say, most likely in utero. So here's the thing. I was in a clinical trial with an endocrinologist and a nurse practitioner out of Strong Memorial Hospital prior to it becoming URMC. And I was in that clinical trial until I was 13 when I was doing HGH. Both of my parents have passed, so I can't ask them, now that I'm, getting into my 40s and I have this whole gamut of, medical conditions popping up. I can't ask anyone about it. I contacted Strong to see if I could get a copy of my medical records. And since it was over 30 years, they had already been destroyed. So I was trying to see if I could locate the doctor that I worked with. I think I found him. He may be at the University of Alabama. So I'm going to reach out to him to see if he can remember anything.
Well, did your parents were born in what year approximately?
My parents, my dad was born in 1931 and my mom was born in 1939.
And so they likely grew up in the era of plant protein, low fat at some point, right? And when your mom was pregnant with you, probably ate standard stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Which contains many of the particles. So I call lichen sclerosis poison ivy.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, aren't we damaged and poisoned by plants?
Plants, right. Yeah. And I live in such a community of apples upstate New York that, they're constantly they were spraying on Monday night, like all of those toxins all over the place.
Yeah. And so where do the biggest toxins come from? Humans or plants?
Plants.
Yeah. Pretty crazy, right?
I know. Absolutely.
Here's a good question, Ollie. You want to read it? Can't hear you.
How do we get enough fat? I'm not doing dairy other than Kerrygold butter, doing 80-20 ground beef, but I can't pour the rendered fat over, can't stomach it. That's a good question.
What's your thoughts, Bridget?
Are you cooking your ground beef in butter? What about tallow? Tallow is great. It adds a lot of flavor. Very high fat. I think like a tablespoon of tallow is about 14 grams of fat.
What about more salt? I think sometimes people just missing salt, and try raw beef instead of cooked beef. So take the ground meat, and just eat it raw. Add a raw egg, just the yolk, and some salt, and just have little bites of it. And it's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Very
It's
amazing.
funny. Funny story that my dad used to eat raw ground beef all the time with egg and yolk, salt. And when I was a kid, I thought it was the most disgusting thing ever. And who would have thought 40 years later it'd be something that I do myself?
Yeah. Yeah. Here's a good one. What were you eating when you were under eating?
When I was under eating, I mean, I was still eating eggs. I probably would eat like typical meal would be like maybe 2 eggs for breakfast, maybe a piece of, a sausage. And then for dinner, I would maybe eat half a pound of ground beef and maybe an egg. Like I just wasn't hungry, so I was definitely under eating. Since then, clearly, steak for breakfast and steak for dinner and probably, 3 to 4 eggs each time. Yeah.
Alia, Bridget, I got to step away for just a second.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
No worries.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can. Let me fix the screen a little bit. Okay. Hey, let's check the next questions. This is a question from Dr. Kiltz. So is a clean diet and exercise a healthy plan for humans? I wish he was here. Let's see. So I have a question. Did you get a period with the carnivore diet, or you don't have one at all?
I don't have one at all. No. Yeah.
Oh, that's because of the pituitary thing?
Yeah.
The pituitary issue? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of my friends say, oh, it's so great. You went your whole life without having a period until my body actually went through menopause at some point. So, I mean, at some point, my body is, I've done a hormone testing, Dutch urine testing with my functional provider, and I'm postmenopausal. So I went through half of puberty, and then, and so I want to say, I'm wondering if the time where I was actually diagnosed with lichen sclerosis was also the time that my body was going through menopause.
Maybe.
And now I may be on the other side of that as postmenopausal.
Wow, these are all questions for Dr. Kiltz.
Right,
I was just
exactly.
curious if you did get a period with the carnivore diet.
I didn't.
But yeah, I don't know about that. When I didn't have a period for 3 years after having my second child, I felt really crazy. So I don't know, but I'm glad you don't feel bad.
Right.
Let's see who else has got. Yeah, that's good. Let's see what other questions we got here. Here we go. Brian Ari, how did the people around you react when you started carnivore?
That stigma is big, right? So, going out to restaurants, going out to family functions and only eating meat is a big thing. That's something that I think I struggled with a lot in the beginning. Well, I was very strict for, over a year. And then, that social stigma got me. And one day I went out, we went to dinner and it was like, okay, yeah, I'll have the baked potato this time. I'll get the salad bar this time. It's no big deal. I haven't had it in a year. And my body just reacted so poorly to it because I had been in such a high state of ketosis that I ate 4 bites of baked potato and I felt like I was going to be sick.
Wow.
My family thought I was crazy. My friends thought I was even crazier. But at the end of the day, they knew all that I had struggled with my whole life. And I said, this is for me. Like, I spent a lot of my adult life taking care of both of my parents that were sick before they passed away. And I said, you know what? I'm going to try this. What's the worst that's going to happen, right? I mean, I can't feel any worse than I do now.
Yeah, makes sense. Papa says, when I started, the people around me accused me of being crazy and irresponsible for eating meat, eggs, and a lot of animal fat and very little anything else. It's so crazy because literally nobody says anything if you're
Right.
eating garbage. If you're
Right,
eating
exactly.
McDonald's and
Yeah.
Domino's and Pizza
Yeah.
Hut, and yeah, it's so crazy
Yeah.
because that's normal.
And now my
what about-
family is great.
Oh,
And
awesome.
they, you know, they say, oh, well, we're going to have a dinner. What can you have? I'm like, well, if we have shrimp, you know, like, you know, if we have, and a lot of times I bring my own food. So we go to, you know, a family function. I will pre-cook a steak and then I will just eat it when I get there.
wow.
You know, or
Smart.
I'll bring my own burger and hot dog, you know, so that way I know that I'm getting, you know, the nutrition that I need, and I'm not, you know, I'm not going to eat. If I'm hungry, I'll eat it. If I'm not, then I just bring it with me and I have it.
Makes sense. And what about your husband?
My husband does carnivore by default. So if he wants to eat, he does carnivore. He actually really enjoys it because he's not much of a vegetable person himself. So he loves it. You know, we eat steak. We have a local farm nearby that we get a cow from. And,
wow.
you know, we do get pigs and chickens. So we know that they're pasture raised and there's no, you know, grass fed, no garbage, no chemicals, no fillers. So we do that every year. Well, twice a year actually, now that we're, you know, eating a lot of meat. Yeah, he absolutely loves it. So
that's awesome.
And he can lose, I mean, he's a guy, so they lose weight like this. You know, so
yeah, exactly. Oh, this is funny. Amanda, it says it drives me crazy. People say, "Oh, let them be kids." What? So because their kids are going to give them poison? Yeah,
I know.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
I have a good friend who, you know, has a daughter who struggles a lot with mental depression, ADHD. You know, and she complains quite a bit all the time about, you know, the behavior. And the first thing I say to her is, look at her diet. She's eating a ton of sugar, ton of processed foods. And I was like, you know, you've got to get her away from that. You've got to change that diet. You've got to get her, you know, eating, you know, basically, you know, a ketogenic diet. So those behaviors will change. You just got to want to be able to make that change.
That's right. Dr. Kiltz, do you have anything to say?
What about fasting? Where do you put fasting into your life journey?
So I do a little bit of fasting, but not a ton of it myself. I've done some, you know, 48-hour fasts before. I essentially do like a 18-6 pretty much every day. I open my window around 10 a.m. and I'm done by, you know, 6 o'clock but usually I get home from work and my husband and I both get home from work early. So we usually eat by 4 o'clock and then I don't eat again until like 10 o'clock the next morning. But, you know, fasting is definitely a great tool to help burn the fat and to keep the glucose low.
And tell us a little bit about your experience in coaching and how's that been?
Good. So I just finished the course and graduated. What was it like in, you know, end of February, March. I've worked with my first client who actually lives in my town. I had put out on Facebook that, you know, I was newly certified through your course and that I was looking for my first guinea pig, right? You know, give me, you know, give me some feedback of what you like, what you don't like, because, you know, there's people that love constant communication, and then there's people that are like, you know, let's have a call, leave me alone, and I'll touch base with you in a week, right? So I sat down with her and we made our commitment to each other. Happy to say that she lost 15 pounds the first month. And she like feels amazing, and she's going to continue on, just providing her the information that she needed to have she didn't do carnivore, she did a high protein ketogenic diet with whole foods. So I was able to provide her with the tools that she needed, and she was committed to making that change, and I'm very happy for her.
Awesome.
Sort of there's something about, as we coach others, we essentially are coaching ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the reasons I sort of started doing my morning lives, and I used to do them 20 plus years ago on Mind, Body, Smile, is I needed the coaching. And so the teacher really is the student in so many ways. And that's why I love these lives in the morning. It gets my day going. I meet and greet with new people. And that's one of the best things we can do, is connect with others.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I want to read this comment. Shepherd's Chapel. All right. Keto carnivore rocks. I've lost a whole bunch of weight and about 10 different illnesses. Let's turn to God.
Season org explains the whole Bible. God bless. It's all a biblical story. I mean, ultimately, the Bible is the story of humanity, and all the religions are our social cultural connection to the gods, which are basically all of us. That's the beauty of it, is that we're all the gods, and the Bible's. Is science any different than a biblical story?
Oh, it's a tough one. I think so.
Is science different than spirituality?
No.
It's the same. No different. It's our creation. We created it. It's only as real as we are. That's all. What's that question?
It says, at what point doing carnivore did you feel truly confident in this lifestyle?
I would say probably about a couple of months in, once I started really getting the hang of it. I mean, so here's the thing with carnivore. It's easy, right? So we overthink it, and that's when it becomes complicated, and that's when people start to feel like, I can't do this, I can't sustain this. It's like literally open up your refrigerator, take out a pound of ground beef, take out a steak, take out some eggs, grab some butter, tallow, salt, whatever you want to do, and just cook it and eat it, and don't overcomplicate it. When I started feeling better, and probably a couple of months into doing carnivore, and I noticed that my lichen was actually doing so much better, and I didn't feel so, I couldn't even stand at the stove and cook an egg when I first was diagnosed. Like, I couldn't, like, it hurt, like my body hurt.
Wow.
2 months into doing carnivore, and it was like, it was crazy. That feeling. I'm, now probably a year and 10 months into carnivore, and I was able to start working out with my personal trainer again. Like we just said last night in our workout, I was like, you know what? Like, what a journey and what a long road this has been, but it was the best choice I could have made for myself.
And you're only 45.
46.
Only 46. You're young.
Yeah, yes,
You're young. I mean, I'm only 70, and this carnivore journey is just the most magical thing that I've ever experienced in life. And as a doctor, I've learned the secret. I went out to talk to a patient coming for a tubal reversal today, and she's like follows us and is working on going carnivore. Awesome. And my book, Christ Carnivore, I'm hoping it's going to be delivered today.
Awesome.
We're excited to get it shared with our brothers and sisters around the globe.
Nice.
This one's for you, Dr. Kiltz. I feel wonderful being strict carnivore for over a year, but however, when I have PMS, I have tremendous pain. Heads, RA flares. Do you feel terrible during PMS? Why do you feel? Oh, why do I feel so terrible during PMS?
Well, don't label it. Again, everyone has been taught about these diseases, these labels, these conditions. What if I'm healthy and well? Maybe it's a time to do some fasting, to do some bone broth with mineral salts.
Yeah.
Again, I always go back to the magic of faith in God, and the Fertile Secret is a book I wrote, or the Fertile Secret I wrote a number of years ago, which is about the power of the secret. And another book that I've been reading, which I always pull out and read, is Course in Miracles. And if you haven't read it, you must. And then I just, my Christ Based Teachings book by Don Curtis. And then because ultimately when we're feeling something, we don't need to blame it on what they've told us it likely is, right? Because I have premenstrual syndrome. Okay, so what are the odds that you're going to continue having it? High. And yes, the RA flares and all those things, once again, are you doing fatty raw meat fasting and practicing faith-based traditions? I do a hot tub cold plunge. I do grounding. I do meditation and prayer. I'm reading a book by my friend Jim Slotnick, who died in his 20s of glioblastoma. I keep a picture of him on my wall of heroes. And these are things that help me when I'm feeling physically or emotionally out of sorts. And so, again, I know that was a long-winded answer, but I'm healthy and well. I need a little bone broth, bone marrow, but best of all, I need some faith and fasting.
Yeah.
We all need it.
We all do. This one's for Bridget. How wide did you come up with name two purple squirrels too?
So, funny story. You know how like when you're talking to somebody and they go off tangent and you can say like rabbit or left turn, things like that. My husband and I, we do that quite often. And before my mom passed away, she lived with my husband and I. And one day he was going off tangent and I was like, squirrel. And then one day he responded with purple. So, like we just got into this habit of saying like, when somebody was going off tangent, we'd say purple, we'd say squirrel. So when we got married, which was during COVID, we had 2 crocheted purple squirrels sitting at our head table. So, he's been my biggest cheerleader throughout all of this. So I just thought it was fitting when I created my LLC to be Purple Squirrels 2, because in New York, Purple Squirrels was already taken. So
Love it.
that's the story of Purple Squirrels 2. So, and then when my mom lived with us one day at the dinner table, she's like, I have a question. And I'm like, what's that? She's like, what the heck is a purple squirrel? So kind of like an inside joke with my husband and I.
Carnivore,
And now. Yeah, I think so.
How do I convince my mother-in-law to get off her statin and ignore her doctor regarding her cholesterol? Any thoughts on that, Bridget? What are your thoughts on that? You think it's...
When I went to my primary care and I had normal blood work done, my cholesterol was elevated, and he offered me a statin, and I said, thank you, but no thank you. You know, obviously cholesterol is good for the brain. That's the way I feel about it. And I feel like the standard of cholesterol has gone, you know, lowered throughout the years. Exactly. So, I mean, don't get me started on big pharma, you know, and, you know, trying to make that almighty dollar off of patients. And, you know, my personal opinion is we live in a sick care system and not a healthcare system. I feel like sometimes that, you know, they just want us to be sick and inflamed, and not. A pharmaceutical drug is, in my opinion, nothing but a Band-Aid. It's just going to mask those symptoms for you. And I feel like that we rely too much on that. Like when I went to my doctor originally and I had said, you know, like, what's wrong with me? And he's like, well, you can do this, so we can do that. And I'm like, I want to get to the root cause. Like, I want to fix what is wrong with my body. My body is broken. I don't want a drug.
Only one drug that I do is the deity, Jesus Christ, the superstar, who's our brother with a story because we're stories. Like, I mean, when we were kids, we used to play, you know, Batman and Robin or Superman or Superwoman and all these things, right? And I just picked the guy that I think is the most amazing human ever created by our stories. But it is powerful.
This is the next question. I read that when losing weight, fat cells release estrogen, so that can be why period is wonky in those beginning months. True. Dr. Kiltz.
That's a story. It's just a story. I'm healthy and well. You know, again, these fat cells, listen, your fat cells don't make estrogen. Sorry. They don't. Your adrenals make some, your ovaries make some, your testicles make some, right? And ultimately, you know, again, this idea that losing weight, fat cells, it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, our menstrual cycles are wonky because of inflammation that we've had for so long. It's still trying to figure itself out. But think about it. In our ancient past, 50,000 years ago, or even 20,000 years ago, how many menstrual cycles did a woman have during their lifetime?
Not many.
Not many, because what was a sign when they started a menstrual period? What was that a sign of?
Time to have babies.
They're fertile and ready for a baby.
Right.
And they're either pregnant or breastfeeding for most of their reproductive life. And then you go through menopause or whatever when it stops. All right. And then you just keep on eating the fatty raw meat in the hunt of life. Isn't that crazy? Very, very crazy. But yeah, I don't think that's true personally. Right. Mindset is so amazing for all of us. And again, I'm only speaking, and these are good questions and comments because I have been in the oh this or oh that until I found oh God. Oh this, oh that, oh God. And he then said, I'm here all along. And this is where the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne taught me a lot. And I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Bridget, the Secret.
No.
You're in the younger group. You're in the younger group. Well, it came out about, was it
2000? I think around 2000.
About 20 some years ago. So,
yeah.
But like anything else, everything is a sine wave. It goes up and down and always moves forward and out into every direction of the universe. But in our coaching course, do we talk about mindset?
Oh, absolutely.
Who talks about it, Dr. Kiltz?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why I love my good friend Jim Slotnick's book, because it's all about mindset. And it's funny, it's sad, it's maddening. It's about the craziness of life. And why did he get glioblastoma?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, his diet. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But why him and not others? I don't know.
Well, that's the part we don't know that answer. We're all going to get something and die. We're going to get heart disease or cancer or some inflammatory, infectious disease from those good probiotics. Are probiotics good for us?
I personally don't use them.
You're so right, Bridget. Because I mean, are microbes everywhere anyway? Why would you take a probiotic?
If you eat a good carnivore diet, you don't need a probiotic. I mean,
well, I would say, even if you eat a bad carnivore diet,
well, right.
You don't need
if you eat a carnivore diet, I mean, I was on probiotics for the longest time, and constipation, diarrhea, for most of my life. And when I started carnivore, it all went away.
Well, that would be a good cue question for everyone. How many people, we should do some questions and get some in this for everyone. It's like, how many people feel that probiotics are good for them? And then yes or no. How many people take them? What about supplements? How many people take supplements? What's the most important supplement to take every day?
Vitamin G.
Vitamin G, Benazadi, right? It's gratitude, attitude of life. And God is the gratitude creator of all things. And who is God?
Yeah.
Me. DoctorNelson. It's all about me.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best.
Right.
Yes.
He's the best. He really is.
He hopped in for a second and said hello. He's about to board.
Oh, what is your favorite meal? I think you maybe said something about that, but what does your daily meal look like?
It varies between the type of cut of steak that I have, but strip steak, ribeye. I love ribeye. Or I'll do ground beef and eggs, if I want a little bit of variety. But that's generally, eggs and steak and salt.
I mean, what more do we need?
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
And our judgment of our bodies and ourselves, in general, do we practice loving ourselves, or do we practice a lot of criticisms of ourselves?
Oh, well, our biggest, we criticize ourselves so much. I mean, instead of, oh, I only lost a pound, it should be, oh my God, I lost a pound, have that positive attitude, because I mean, I struggled for so long that even sometimes when I jump on the scale, I'm like, oh, I thought I did, thought I was having a really good week. I feel really good. I lost 0.2 of a pound. But then I think about it and say, oh my God, there were weeks where the scale kept going up. And so let's celebrate, being able to lose 0.2 of a pound. My body is getting rid of that inflammation, and it's allowing myself to actually be able to lose weight and heal my body in the process.
What about if I always say, I'm a perfect weight today and every day? I'm a perfect weight today and every day, because for so many people, when they went Atkins or keto or paleo or carnivore, it just seemed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And does looking at it and judging it make us healthy? Does measuring really improve our outcomes? I don't know. I always question. The more I just stop measuring stuff, the more I'm exactly where I wanted to be because I see myself exactly where I want to be always. Is that sort of our practice of life, right? How can we practice more in the positive light and love of life rather than the like, oh, it's me, I'm just not losing weight. And, and that's our biggest, because I always think that our biggest problem is our judgment in a negative way about fat on the body or in the mouth that you're eating. And the modern medical system pretty much is dissed us, right? That they're causing all our real problems. And so when you go to your primary care, what is their sort of conversation to you about carnivore and all these things?
So when I went to my primary care and I had jumped on the scale and I walked in and he said, "Oh wow, you've lost 15 pounds. Like, I know you struggled for so long. Like, you know, how did you do it?" And I told him that I went carnivore, and he just kind of looked at me and was like, "I really don't advise that you do that." And I said, "I appreciate that. I will take that, you know, with a grain of salt." I said, "You know, I do work with medical doctors." And I said, "You know, and I'm perfectly fine, you know, being my own healthcare provider, because at the end of the day, we are our own healthcare providers."
Well, and I think that's really good. I mean, we're connected with Dave Feldman and Own Your Labs, and we have a link on our websites, right, Alia, that you can order them through us, get a discount, and his new movie, The Cholesterol Code, which is coming out on Amazon the 17th. We're all going to be sharing that, and it's so important that we are ultimately. I'm a doctor, but this isn't doctor advice. I'm just a human being sharing a story, but you got to do your own research and experimentation. But ultimately, who's responsible for everything goes in your mind and your mouth?
We are.
Yes, right? Oh no, but we've been hoodwinked. We've been hoodwinked via supervised life, institutionalized. Basically, we're all institutionalized. That's the craziness of the story, right?
Let's do a few more questions. Let's see, we got a couple minutes. How do you feel about iodine and magnesium supplementation? It said that iodine cannot be gotten from food anymore.
Do you have an opinion, Bridget?
Iodine, seafood.
Better. So ultimately, I mean, what supplements did we take 50,000 years ago?
Right.
You probably ate the thyroid gland, right?
Right.
It was
Exactly.
like, oh, I'm not eating that gland or this gland or that gland, right? Is visceral fat bad for us?
Well, it protects your organs.
Protects your organs. Is
You
fat,
need some.
is fat bad for us?
No.
No. The healthiest thing for us, right? And fat on your body is the fuel and building blocks for every cell, every baby, every day. You do not burn sugar or amino acids. The lie. The lie. It's just a lie. It's the biggest lie ever, right?
Yes.
Janet Hauer Bunch. Janet Hauer Bunch on Facebook. Congratulations. Please email me, alia@drkiltz.com, and I will get you your baseball, Kiltz My Tribe baseball cap.
Woohoo.
Hey, Bridget.
Yes.
So what's your mission in this carnivore coaching?
So my mission is to help women that have lichen sclerosis, and let them know that by changing their diet, that the potentially, I mean, obviously everyone's different, but that this is something that we can do to help ourselves get rid of the sugar, get rid of the gluten, get rid of that standard American diet, and feel better. And I've been on a lot of the lichen sclerosis Facebook pages, and I've been talking to women saying, reach out to me. I'm here to help you. I got the knowledge that I needed to learn to be able to help people, because at the end of the day, I know what I felt like all day, every day. And I don't want anyone to have to go through that. I mean, I went from being able to work out 4 days a week and being in a very active job to not even be able to stand at the stove and cook an egg because I was in so much pain. And now I'm back working out. I have a great carnivore diet. I feel amazing. I've been able to lose weight, something that I've struggled with since I was 13 years old.
Are you doing? Are you been able to go to any of the meetups, or have you created any communities of meetup, or do you know anyone in our Syracuse upstate area?
I am actually going to go to Albany. So, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's about 3 hours for me. And Syracuse is only about an hour. In fact, my husband had a massage last night at CNY. I had a fabulous Thai massage. So
awesome. Well, I'm really grateful to you. And again, Alia, when's the Albany meetup? Albany.
May 30th.
May 30th.
And get those tickets out there. Let's build it up. We got to get enough people. We got to get enough people going, so we keep it going.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one of the most important things, is that you have to have, what is it, the enough crowd to make it happen.
Yeah,
because if we don't have enough people, we're going to look at it and say, you know what, guys, we got to do something else, maybe.
Yeah. So definitely, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
So everyone should get their tickets and head on over.
Awesome.
Awesome. I appreciate everyone's.
Oh, good.
I appreciate everyone's comments, questions, and just hanging out or just saying hello from wherever you're at in the world. I know that I saw George here. Just amazing people. It's so great. I'm so grateful to all the people that show up, even if it's for a couple of minutes. Brian, Peter, Carrie. Let's see, Retire Rick, Papa. We got Bacon, Duckman, Jojo. Really amazing that, again, everyone's got busy lives, and to stop in with Kiltz Mighty Tribe at 6 a.m. in the morning. I am really honored for each people. Even DoctorNelson stopped in today. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Any last minute comments, Bridget, before we hit the button in about 15 after?
I would just say thank you for offering the course. Thank you for being in the community. Meeting you at Meat Stock last year was pivotal. I had been carnivore for 6 months at that point. And just listening to you and meeting you and having the conversation with you. And, I really appreciate all that you've done. And
thanks, Bridget.
That's why I took the course, and I'm here to help. So if anyone has any questions.
God